For years, I thrived in the high-pressure business world, but the workaholic life finally caught up with me. I was 35, very overweight, in chronic pain with severe mobility issues, terrible diet, no exercise. My health was a complete wreck. Then I went to a gentle yoga class and felt truly relaxed. The stress just melted away. I went from a size 18 to a size 8. I stopped getting sick. Pain disappeared. I learned to open my heart and I felt happy for the first time in years. So I said goodbye to the business world and started teaching. Yoga doesn't have to be strenuous. The easiest movements can trigger major release of chronic symptoms, no matter your age.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hello, I'm Deborah Devine, and that was my story. My chronic sitting and poor eating habits caused me to have muscle cramps in my legs. Cramps would come during the day at the most inopportune times and sometimes keep me up at night. But then I found gentle yoga. With practice, I released muscular tension as well as mental tension. It helped my hormones come into balance, and I stopped waking up at night with pain. Today, I'm sharing a very simple yoga practice that will help reduce the severity of cramps or eliminate them. We begin by releasing the back line of the body from the toes all the way up and around to the eyebrows. Then we work to let the front line of the body open up. Finally, we release the side body and extend and rotate the spine before coming in for a soft landing in a side-lying shavasana. Do the whole series, or if you're busy, just one or two poses will help make muscle cramps a thing of the past. Let's start the healing. Joining me today, Isabel. Hi, Isabel. Isabel's muscle cramps are getting worse and worse, and she's even feeling them in her hands. And Linda. Hi, Linda. Linda's muscle cramps are waking her up at night, and she also has muscle cramps when she's driving. Now we're going to come into toe squats, into Hindu squats. So we come down onto the ground, onto our knees. We turn the toes so that the toe pads are facing down. We're going to be releasing the whole back line starting from the feet. So once we get established with the toe pads, we begin to take the buttocks closer to the heels. Now, if your knees are bothering you, you can always put a blanket or a towel underneath your knees to have a soft place to land, or you could also be taking a blanket or a towel in behind the knees. We use the breath to really open up space in the bottoms of the feet. Long, slow, smooth in breaths, and long, slow, smooth, and complete out breaths. Then, when you need to come out of the pose, do so. Turn the toes over and recover. Wiggle the toes a little bit. And then we'll turn the toes over one more time. And come back. After we do several repetitions, things start to really loosen up. We have so many bones in the feet, and things can get really stuck, and the connective tissue can start to bind. We'll come back up and recover. We can already start to feel all of that fresh blood and the fresh lymph moving in the feet. Now we're going to come into Hindu squats. The chair is going to help us keep our balance, and we are going to take our heels together. The toes are facing out, and the knees are always tracking along with the toes. Long, slow, smooth in breath, coming up the front of the body. Long, slow, smooth, and complete out breath, drawing the shoulder blades down the back, letting the sit bones come down. If you'd like to lean forward, you're going to get a little bit of a deeper crease in the hips. And then you can also take your elbows to the inside of your knees and begin to press with your knees in and resist with your elbows out. Let's come up to Parshvattanasana. We'll come to standing and just allow what we did to our feet to integrate. Feel what it feels like to make contact with the ground now with all this new awareness that we have in the soles of our feet. Now, Parshvattanasana is an excellent stretch for the calves and the Achilles tendon. So we'll take the right foot forward and take the left foot back and place the heel on the ground. The stance doesn't have to be super wide. Just go to where you feel it is most appropriate for you today. The feet can be about hip width apart. Just make sure that you've got your balance. You've got your chair here. Now we're going to bring awareness to the back leg. The back leg is going to go for an inner spiral. There's a lot of action in the back leg. This is the anchor of the pose. Go to the glutes. Squeeze. Press down into the heel and begin to bend the knee ever so slightly. Feel that wonderful stretch along the Achilles tendon and into the muscles of the calf. Releasing muscle tension in the calves is so important. There are so many layers of muscle and connective tissue, and using the breath to go deep into those layers, breathing in light and spaciousness, and exhaling, drawing that old energy down into the ground through the heels is a wonderful way to get a little bit more openness in the backs of the legs. Now let's switch sides. Left leg comes forward, right leg comes back. This leg might need to be in a different position. Perhaps there's a bit of an imbalance going on with the body, so we just do what we can do, and we try to stay out of the pain zone. As soon as you start feeling your teeth clenching or your eyes squeezing, we want to stop. Begin to bend the back knee, keeping the heel on the ground. Now, please continue to enjoy a few more rounds of Parshvattanasana, and when we come back from the break, we'll have some more healing yoga for muscle cramps. Right foot comes forward, and we integrate, standing in Tadasana.
Healing yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hi, my name is Isabel. I'm 65 years old. I have been experiencing muscle cramps, particularly in my toes. Usually this happens when I stretch and they just cramp up and I need to actually put my foot down, put weight on it for it to go away. I've also noticed that sometimes I've also had cramping in my fingers, but that's only when I've been working a lot with my hands. And I'm hoping that I can learn what exercises I can use through yoga to help with that.
Welcome back. In today's episode, we're using our yoga practice to help us with muscle cramps. Isabel, how do you deal with the cramps that you have in your hands?
Well, it doesn't happen often. It'll happen if I'm using a tool, like for example, if I'm cutting a lot of things, I'll notice that it's happening mostly in my index finger of my right hand. Well, I just straighten it and I just go on, but other than like finger exercises, that's all I do.
These next poses are going to really help express energy out of the hands and the forearms. We're coming into side bends. We have a bolster, but you could also use a rolled up blanket or a towel. And then we bring the bolster right up to the side waist. The bottom knee is bent and the top leg is going to come long. We drape ourselves and create a lot of space in between the discs of the spine. The head is resting on the bottom arm. The top arm will come up and over, and then we're just going to grab onto the pinky finger, and then we're going to engage the top leg and bring the leg back just a wee bit. And then another breath cycle here. Press the heel away, and then the ring finger, the middle finger, the index finger, using the breath to breathe light and spaciousness into the parts that are feeling a little bit more constricted, a little bit more tense. We're releasing a lot of muscle tension on the inner part near the spine that we may not have access to under other circumstances. Now, let's bring our head and our neck back toward the back plane of the body and feel this more as a bit of a back bend. Move the thumb away from the rest of the fingers, and then we'll let the top arm come down, and we'll use the upper body strength to bring ourselves back up. And take a breath for a moment here. And then we'll switch sides. The bottom knee stays bent so that we can create a really good foundation. And we drape ourselves over, creating lots of space so that we can expand between the top of the hip and the bottom of the ribs. Top leg long, head resting down into the bottom of the arm. You could also take a pillow or a rolled up blanket and put it here as well. Top arm comes up and over. Grab onto the pinky finger. Press the pinky finger back just as far as feels comfortable. Press the heel away. Long, slow, smooth, and complete in and out breaths into each finger, pressing back with the ring finger and the middle finger. Use the breath and complete the exhalation. Feel that those bits of tension that are coming out are actually going down, engaging apana, this downward flowing energy. It's almost like electricity is being conducted out of the fingers. Use the breath to ground that energy. Now, we'll let go of the hands, use the upper body strength to bring ourselves back up. Give ourselves a moment, take a few breaths to integrate what just happened there. We've lengthened the spine and opened up some new energy channels. And now we're going to be going into a supported bridge. We have a bolster on standby so we can lift our pelvis and support the low back. But again, you can also use a blanket or a towel. So the knees are bent. The feet are a little bit further away than hips. And then we press down into the feet and lift the pelvis up and take a bolster underneath. Take that support underneath the low back. Let the shoulder blades come down the back and feel yourself resting more toward the top of the shoulder shelf. Now, we're going to extend one leg and then bend it back, and then the other leg and bend it back. Let's begin with the left leg. Inhaling, lengthening. Feel the opening on the front of the hip. Exhaling, bending that knee, taking the foot to the ground. Inhaling, letting the right leg come out. And then bending that knee. Wonderful. Now let's add the arms. Inhaling, left leg comes out, arms come up and over. Touch the thumbs to the floor. Exhale, bend the knee, bring the arms back. Inhale, right leg comes long, arms come up and over, touching the thumbs to the floor and drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Exhaling, coming back. Now we'll continue on from side to side and just feel that wonderful opening of the front of the hips. When we're dealing with muscle cramps, sometimes the tension can get stuck in different corners. The creases of the hips are one of the biggest areas where we carry a lot of tension. Please continue to enjoy this bridge pose with arm variations, and when we come back in a few moments, we'll have more healing yoga for muscle cramps.
Healing yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hi, my name is Linda. I am 60 years old. Recently, I have been experiencing some pretty severe muscle cramping in my toes and feet, up the calves, even in my fingers. So what I'm doing is spending a little more time with my yoga practice, learning to calm down a little, to help with any anxiety that might be contributing, to relax a little more, and to help with circulation. And I'm finding it's really helping with the cramps. They're subsiding. Yoga helps.
Welcome back. In today's episode, we're using our yoga practice to help us with muscle cramps. Linda, what happens when you're driving and you end up with a muscle cramp?
I try, first of all, to breathe through it. That's my first line of defense. When that doesn't happen, depending on which foot it is, if it's the left foot, I have been known to try to massage it while driving, but not the best idea I've ever had. So it's mostly just mind over it and trying really hard to send the relaxation through my entire body and hoping it gets to my foot.
Well, these next poses are going to be wonderful for opening up more lines of energy and releasing tension. Let's go for Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. We're going to come down onto the mat with a bolster supporting us. You can also use a rolled up blanket or towel. And then we're going to sit on the edge of the bolster, knees bent. We're looking to get the short edge of the bolster to rest underneath the shoulder blades. Use the hands and the upper body strength to come down. And then we rest the shoulders, the shoulder shelf, on the ground. Just get used to what this feels like. And if you're feeling any discomfort, you can always roll over to your right and remove the support and put something there that's a little bit lower so that you feel more comfortable. Now, if your shoulder blades are off the bolster and your shoulder shelf is resting on the ground, you can take one arm up and over, the other arm up and over. This is a wonderful stretch for the top of the front of the body. We're opening up some energy in the armpits, and of course, we're opening up a lot of energy around the heart. After a few breath cycles, we can begin to inch our way over to the left. We're going to keep our torso stable, and then we're just going to move over to the left from the part of the back that's not being supported by the bolster. So we get a little bit of a contraction on one side and a little bit of opening on the other. And we take a long, slow, smooth in and out breath into the open side and feel how the ribs are starting to open up a little bit more. Then we come back to center. And we take a few breaths here, just integrating that new sensation of openness on the right side. Now we'll inch our way over to the right and open up to the left. This back bend is so wonderful to release long-held tension deep inside the body. It's a very passive back bend. We're not really active and striving. We're just surrendering and allowing this beautiful blossoming open to happen on the front part of the body. We have a lot of built up tension, not only physically, but also emotionally. We feel things in our belly, we feel things in our hearts, and when we go into this beautiful, very gentle back bend, we can release a lot. Now, let's come back to center. And we'll begin to integrate that sensation of opening up through the ribs. Maybe you'd like to readjust your neck, lengthen it out a little bit more. And now we'll take some leg extensions and work with the feet. Left leg comes long, and then we're going to point the toes. Then we point the heel. Point the toes and point the heel. Use the breaths. Wonderful. Now let's go to the opposite side. Bending the left knee, right leg comes long. Pointing the toes, pointing the heel. Toes and heel. This is a great way to add to the extension of the front line of the body because we're in this back bend. We're opening up the heart, we're opening up the belly, we're opening up the hips, and now we're opening up all the way down through to the feet. Now, let's bend the right knee, and we'll continue on the left. So when we come back from the break in a few moments, we'll have some more healing yoga for muscle cramps. Left leg extends, pointing the heel, pointing the toes.
Healing yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Insufficient stretching before exercise, exercising in the heat, and muscle fatigue, as well as imbalances in the levels of electrolytes in the blood may all help contribute to muscle cramps.
Welcome back. In today's episode, we've been using our yoga practice to help us with muscle cramps. We released the back line of the body from the toes all the way up to the top of the head. We were also releasing the fingers, the side body, the upper back, the front chest. Now we're going to be coming into a wonderful child's pose to get settled in before we move into our shavasana. This child's pose is going to have a lot of support. So we're going to be using a few blankets and a few bolsters. But if you only have blankets and towels at home, that is wonderful too. We take a block and we place it in a way that will allow the bolster to be on an incline. The blanket is going to support the knees. Here we go. Then we're going to use another blanket behind the knees, and this is going to open up a little bit more space in the knee joint. We're taking a round bolster, and we're going to be setting our sit bones down above our heels. Wonderful. And then we get the bolster up close. We lengthen on the in-breath, and then we exhale and come forward. And we can let the arms rest underneath that hole that's made. Long, slow, smooth, and complete in and out breaths are going to allow you to sink deeper into the pose here. We've got lots of supports, so there's a lot of softness, and there won't be any discomfort. Going into child's pose is a really wonderful way to get ready for a very soothing shavasana. We are using a lot of props to keep things nice and soft. The compression of the belly in child's pose activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of the body that governs rest and digest functions. Feeling the back decompress. Feeling the breaths, taking the ribs wider. Opening the ribs out and up. Feeling the sit bones move away from the head. And feeling the arms and the shoulders release down. Now we're going to come into side lying shavasana. Bring your hands a little bit closer to your knees and use your upper body strength to come up. Remove the supports. Remove the block. And then let the blanket support the head and the neck. The larger support is going to end up right in between the legs. And then the smaller support will be used to support the arms. Keeping the knees bent might feel really wonderful, but you can also let your legs come longer or move them a little bit further toward the back plane. Feel yourself settling in here. Allow your breaths to come a little bit deeper into the belly and into the low back. And then natural breaths. We'll take a long, slow, smooth in-breath into the feet, the legs, the hips. Breathing in light and spaciousness. Exhaling tension. Exhaling holding. Another long, slow, smooth, and complete in-breath into the back. All of the muscles and the connective tissue, the nerves, the blood vessels. Breathing in light and spaciousness here and exhaling tension, exhaling holding. Long, slow, smooth in-breath into the front line of the body, the belly, the heart, the lungs. Breathing in light and spaciousness and exhaling tension, exhaling holding. Go to the face. Release all of the muscles. Let go of the eyes. And rest deeply here for at least another 20 minutes. And we'll see you again next time on Healing.